All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Bees Like That podcast. As always, I'm your host, Chris. I've um, I've been having a few. Well, I've had a few conversations lately that I think have pointed me in a direction of reflection and introspection. Maybe not answering some of the harder questions that I have about myself, my path, my journey, etc. But sometimes these questions or ideas about myself come up when I examine or I experience or listen to the experiences or testimonies of other people. Let me set this up with this. Let me preface this by saying what I'm about to share is in no way me placing myself in some form of moral superiority or experience hierarchy or any other position of critical or harsh judgment of other people and their experiences. All I'm doing is maybe in juxtaposition to these experiences, asking other questions about my existence, my presence, my path, etc. Because I get curious about certain things. Now, I'm not going to say that there wasn't a point in time where there wasn't a version of me that would have said, "God, what a wimp, what a," you know what I mean? Toughen up to some of these things, right? Because, like, as I've shared before, I've had a really serious life. I've had some really, really serious experiences, and I had this conversation with a friend of mine earlier. I've had some experiences that I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be speaking. I shouldn't be addressing large groups of people about controversial topics. I shouldn't be as capable. I shouldn't be sober. I shouldn't be alive, but I am. This is something that I'm wildly grateful for, but also very, very curious, right, about my higher powers intention and plan for me. So anyway, I was listening to a part of what I think is a podcast, but it was on Instagram, and this is an experience shared by this person. And I think it relates to a back injury. Well, it related to a back injury, and how that pain that they experienced from that. And I'm sure that the back injury itself may have felt like the primary determinant for these feelings, these really strong and big emotions, either or emotions, I like to call them. But most of the time, I think generally all of us could agree that there are probably some other underlying mental health issues. But nonetheless, on its face, this was what was listed as the primary determinant for this feeling, this either or feeling. Like, well, if this is going to be the way that my life, the way that I'm going to experience the world, this isn't living. So I'd rather not do this. So playing that all the way through, that sounded at least like an ideation, a suicidal ideation. Now, that kind of a feeling, that suicidal ideation, and even serious attempts, those aren't something that I'm unfamiliar with. Where I intersected with this other person's experience, and again, this is not a judgment. This is not me saying, dude, you ain't shit. I've dealt with way more than that. A little back boo-boo. No, I'm not saying anything like that, because one thing that I say openly, I did used to malign people and make fun of them, those who had back injuries and would call out or weren't able to do certain things, until I had back issues, until I had 2 herniated discs in my lower back that disallowed me from even extending my arm. Just that act alone, just extending my arm out in front of my body to pick up a glass of water, just a short glass of water, was excruciating. It would make my eyes water. I couldn't speak. It literally would take my breath away. The pain was so intense. So I stopped making fun of people with back issues as soon as I got them. It's funny how that works. But I'm listening to this clip from this podcast, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy that because I relate to that pain 100%. And that it's crazy that impacted this person so profoundly that made them think that this is a consideration. But where my head went from there and is tends to lean right now is that this has kind of been bubbling under the surface for a while. What the back did is just kind of like bring that up and like, nah, dog, fuck that. This is our reservation, and we're gonna cash in on this one. Because until that point, like, I've had intermittent issues, back stuff and shoulder stuff throughout my adult life that was significant, but nothing to this magnitude. Like, this was crazy. But up until even at my back stuff, like I just looked, I was like, all right, well, shit, fuck it, I'm gonna drink because I'm not gonna go through this pain. So that's what I did. That's how I dealt with my back injury, even after surgery. That's what I did. But and a lot of pain pills. But for me, the suicidal ideation, that didn't come, and I'm telling you, all right, so as a kid, abject poverty, sexual assault, physical, emotional abuse, abandonment, housing insecurity, rape, exposure to DV and addiction, racism. A lot of stuff. And I carried that with me. I still carry it with me. Like, my scars are visible. It's one of the ways that I continue to process that stuff. One of the ways that I deal with that is to discuss it openly, to just say it, to profess it. So it's not this dirty secret. None of it is a dirty secret that I have to hide from the world, or that I think everyone can still see. I just profess it. That's one of the ways that it works for me. But anyway, I'd never, even with that stuff, and fucking, bro, being homeless and incarcerated at 15 and doing 3 years and getting out, being out 6 months and getting another couple of years, getting out, getting another couple of years, and just, man, stuff with my kids and just all kinds of crazy shit. Suicide never came into the picture. It never entered my mind. I never for a second considered it as an option. Not once. Until, and I'll tell you why I think that was. Because when it finally became something that seemed like a viable option for me was when I felt like there were zero other options. Like, I'd exhausted everything. I tried. And in my head and in my heart and in my spirit, I felt like I'm just broken. I'm just broken. There's no fixing what the fuck is fucked up in me. That time, all that time leading up to that, I think I had this, I don't know, I want to call it childish optimism, because I've made it a reality. I've made the change, right? And I'm living a great life now, and I'm thankful for everything that I have and all of the opportunities that continue to come my way, even for the bullshit that I have in my life. And trust me, I got the bullshit that comes along with the good shit. But until that point, I had that level of optimism, and I could still, no matter how dark the days became, no matter how tragic the experience, no matter how low that I felt I may be, and I'm talking about, man, being medically detoxed, and I'm not talking about 2 or 3 times. I'm talking about multiples of 10s. A lot. And again, like I say, it wasn't in, I'm saying, like, I had, honestly, this is going to sound crazy. When I had my tonsils out at 31, I think that hurt. That was worse pain than my back. Oh my God. I'm telling you, I don't know how kids do it. Kids are so resilient. I don't know, dude, but like it was the worst experience because I knew for like 3 weeks, I even ice cream. They're like, oh, just eat soft foods, it'd be great. Even ice cream, I could get about 3 bites in, and on like the fourth time swallowing, it literally felt like I was swallowing hot, ground up glass and rocks and just razors. It was excruciating, way worse than the back pain. Way worse. And this is scary because in your mind, you're like, dog, I got to eat. What am I going to do? So what I had to get, I would get drunk, take pain pills and get drunk. And that's how I got through that. But even with that, even when my dad died, suicide never entered my mind. I was depressed as hell. I felt terrible. I felt hopeless, anxious, guilt-ridden, shameful, all of the above, but I never felt suicidal. I'm going to tell you about that. This was around the time my kids had first been removed from our care. My wife and I weren't together. I mean, we were together, but we weren't living together, and things between us were really rough. My addiction was in full swing. I was homeless. I had nowhere to go. Didn't have a car, nothing. But it just so happened at this time, my mom paid for a room for me for, I think it was like 4 nights. And gave me a few bucks. So when she left, I immediately went to it was either a Walgreens or a Rite Aid across the street, and I bought a fifth of vodka. And I stole 3 bottles of the Advil PM and the Tylenol PM. I was like, all right, so I'm just going to mix this up and get a variety. But I made sure that they were all the gel ones. So I grabbed all my supplies, some cigars. I smoked the Black & Miles back then. And I went back to my room, and I took all of those sleep aids out of the bottles, and I put them in separate cups. You know how hotels they be having the little cups. So I put them all in separate cups, 3 separate cups with warm water, but just enough to cover the top with maybe like an inch of water. And because at this point, this was the first time that I would look at my life and I couldn't see a way out. I couldn't see myself in a different version of whatever I had. I couldn't see it. And then to that point, I could picture myself. I could time travel 6 months into my future and see myself doing, what I've done before, which is pick myself up, dust myself off, go to some meetings, get some sobriety, get a job, whatever. I couldn't see that anymore. I could not see it. It was not there. And I was like, okay, well, this is it right here then. So I drank, I don't know, I'd say half of that vodka. And I think most of that was just dulling my nerves and getting up the courage. And then smoked a cigar. Made a couple of phone calls, smoked a cigar. And then I just, 3 shots. I just took all those. I don't know how many pills were in each. I think maybe, I think some of them had 50. Some of them had, 90. Some of them had 20, whatever, various amounts. But it was well over 100 pills, 100 sleep aids that I took. And then I just pounded as much of the rest of that bottle as I could. And I swigged it until my eyes started watering and I couldn't breathe. And I was afraid that I might throw up all the pills that I just swallowed. So I just set it down. There was probably, like a finger left in the bottom of that bottle. And I just set the bottle down. And I remember kicking my feet up, putting my hands behind my head like this, laying back on the bed, and I remember watching Animal Planet, and the last thing that I saw in there was a female lion taking down some kind of like prey animal, and then everything's dark. And I remember waking up, it was 11 days later in the ICU, naked, naked as hell. Boy, I didn't even have a sheet on me. I was like, what the hell? They just let me just lay in here naked? It was crazy. I don't know. They probably tried to cover me up, and I probably just kept kicking the sheets off, but whatever. I was out, man. I was out for 11 days. And I came to, and I was like, fuck. I remember that's the first thing I thought was fuck. Because the plan was not to come back. The plan was not to wake up in the hospital. The plan was not to have to face any of this stuff anymore. The plan was to opt out. The plan was that I was going to shut the lights out, and none of this shit was going to be my problem anymore. That was the plan. It didn't quite go like that. And I'm thankful. I'm very thankful, because my life today is the promises of the program that I work. My life today is a manifestation of the promise that my higher power made and is kept for me, to me. My life today is a testament that even when you feel like there are no other options, that there's an option, that like you can live and you can recover and you can thrive. And so I look at how serious that perspective is, and how deadly some of those decisions can be. And I've had people in my life who've committed suicide. It's a real thing. And especially as a man, and today in today's climate, that's one of the reasons why I wear the shirts that I wear. One of the reasons why I share and I put out and I profess the things that are on my heart, and I cry and I emote and I tell people how I feel, is because I want men to look at me and be like, damn, okay, well, he just seems like a regular dude, and he can cry, and he seems to be all right. He can do this, and he seems to be all right. He did this, and he seems to be doing all right. Maybe I'll try that in my life. And what I refuse to do, while sharing my experiences in my new strength and my new hope, what I refuse to do, what I will never do, is ruminate on how awful that I felt. I will never try to invite people toward me by glorifying that form of mental health, by saying, hey, I'm a part of this tribe. Like, I'm never going to do that. I will share openly my current struggles. I will share openly whatever the things are that are challenging for me. I will share openly my failures and my triumphs. I will do all of that stuff, because what I have today, what I am today, is a brand new thing. What I am today is not who I was, not what I was 6 years ago, 7 years ago. So I don't live there anymore. I'm not going to give that version of myself to the world. I need men out there, people, but men especially, I need them to see that you can have that kind of a past. You can try to take yourself out of the game, and you can still come back from it. You do not have to have that remain your identity. You can be brand new. You can be brand new. This is fucking for sure. And the people around you, the ones that love you, they will get it. They will get it. There's an odd thing. And I'm saying this to set up a second point. The people who, I'll say this, everybody gets it. This is my perspective. This is my take on it. Everybody gets it. Everybody gets that people change. Everybody understands how that works. What doesn't happen universally, what a lot of people cannot do, is accept it. Everybody understands it, but some cannot accept it. Some will not. Some refuse to accept it. I'm going to tell you what. On your new path, what you're going to do is you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make some of the mistakes that I did. You're going to use this newfound energy and you're going to speak it because you're brand new. You're going to speak a new language and you're going to find people who speak this new language too. But what you're going to see is that you experience some confusion because the people, some of them who speak this new language, the same that you do, they're not riding with you like that. They're not about that language. They're just about, well, actually, they're about the language. They ain't about that action, right? There's a difference. And you, like me, being probably way more intuitive than is fair to you, than is for your own good, you're going to, in other times, most other times, pretty readily identify the bad actors. You know, and it's usually, in my experience, the people that everybody loves. And initially what you're going to do is you're going to say, wow, they are pretty great. But then you're going to look, as anyone would or should, who's not extremely cognitively lazy, you're going to look to want to understand the reasons why they seem to be so great. And when those reasons are harder to come by, or when under not even careful scrutiny, but like minimal scrutiny or examination, these veneers over these reasons seem to just fade away and disintegrate, you're like, damn, I see you now. Here's the thing. The way that you intuitively see through this bullshit, they see you too. They see you as a threat. So what they're going to do is they're going to make you think they're going to do their best at it anyway to make you feel defective. They're going to do their best anyway to make you feel wrong. They're going to do their best to publicly shame you, to discredit you, to ridicule you, all while at the same time singing your praise. I know this is diabolical, but it happens. It's happened to me. What I want to say is that you're not defective. You're not fucking crazy. You're right. You're right. And all the changes that you've made so far are real. And you're going to continue to change. And you're worth it. They are suckers. They are pieces of shit. They are manipulative. They are liars. Right? But that's not everybody, though. But I say that to say, hold tight in your hand and visibly out in front of you. And this is just for you. Byproduct for other people, but just for you. The version of your life that you currently have and the version that you deserve to work your ass off to get. Right? Start practicing today and continue to do the things that you believe your future self would do as a man or a woman, whatever. Be that person right now. Don't wait for later. Don't wait for the approval of people, especially the social popes, right? Don't wait. You're going to find yourself acting alone in a lot of these spaces. That's fine. Because what I don't want to see happen to you is that you wait and then you let self-doubt creep in. And you do as I've done many, many times, you relapse. Because I'm telling you, when you make the big changes and then you fall, and, oh man, it is harder and harder to get back up. It's harder and harder to get back up. But that's crazy though, to just as an observation to see how, because I don't know this person, right? Like, I don't know, back to like the original topic, I don't know this person who I watched this clip on the podcast at all. So I don't know their backstory. And like I said, I'm willing to bet that there were compounding factors other than the that made the back feel like it was a straw. No pun intended. But again, just looking, like observing that, being like, damn, dog, like, what was it that, like, well, I think we identified that already, but just like, damn, how is that manifested in my life and not other people? Like, where? And it has to, and again, in my mind, I guess I could just like go over this all day and play out different scenarios, but I think like it has to boil down to God. Then someone be like, oh, that's a lazy explanation. Whatever, dog. Like, it makes sense to me because I can't think of many other reasons why. I mean, the ones that I've attached to myself, like, but again, that hope that I could see before, that wasn't coming from me. That was coming from my higher power. Well, that was coming from your higher power. Your higher power, you're saying, didn't cut it off? No. My higher power didn't cut that hope off. I cut myself off from my higher power, so the hope disappeared. My higher power never went anywhere. God doesn't make deals. He keeps promises, and he's not let me down on one. Not one single promise. That's hard for like God deniers out there to accept. I don't give a damn. I don't care. Because, man, there's no other explanation for the grace that's abounded in my life and the fortune that's abounded in my life, and especially in the last 6 years. I mean, yeah, I get it. You know, God gives us tools. He gives us skills and ability, and it's our task to exercise them and to worship and all that stuff. But I was out of here. Leave it up to me. I was out of here. God was like, no, you're not. It ain't your time yet, bro. You got stuff to do. Anyway, I just wanted to share some thoughts with y'all about that there. And just say again, if you or anyone that you know is feeling suicidal, or you're feeling like you want to hurt yourself or somebody else, please reach out to somebody. Talk to somebody. Don't let that happen, please. I'm begging you. It's never worth it, man. It's never worth it. Reach out. There's people that you may feel like you don't have anybody that loves you. You may feel like there's nobody who cares. There are people that care. There are people that care. Shit, you could message me or email me, and I could put you in contact with services or supports, man. But please, talk to somebody. Don't hold it in. Reach out and get some help, because you're worth it. But if you didn't do it on the way in, think about doing it on the way out. Hit that like, subscribe, and post notification bell. Bing! Put that motherfucker on all, so you can stay up to date on all the cool, funky, dope, super badass-ery shit that we talk about here on It Bees Like That podcast. Peace, y'all.